management and primarily risk management as well. So I think you guys hear me talk about, profiting both ways quite a bit. So actually get into some sample of that today. All right. So maybe one of you guys want to give me a coin. We can potentially look at a coin and then, use that as an example. What's up, Willie? Anybody want to volunteer a coin or I just pick one? Big time? Okay. We can do big time. Hang on, let me just grab my charts real quick. All right. Flower. Okay. All right, cool, Willie. Thanks for coming by. See. Let me share my screen just a moment. Good night, Willie. Have a good one. All right, let me share my screen. Huh. Okay, here we are. Okay, please let me know if you see my screen. Time. I'm streaming from Asia. So you guys can see my screen, correct? Okay, perfect. All right, so this is big time based on the perpetual contract in Binance. So every time before we kind of look into anything, the first thing we look at is the current market structure, right? So we want to identify the lowest point, the highest point. So in this case, based on the daily chart, we are currently on a bull trend, right? Because our original point is actually lower than the lowest swing low for the most recent times, right? So we can anticipate as long as we don't close below this level, we're probably going to swing between this gray box, right? So this is pretty much where we're going to be swinging in between, based on kind of just the price action and everything. So now we kind of have an area we can work with. So anything in between here is still considered a bull trend in terms of a macro analysis, looking at the bigger picture. But as we look at the more local picture, obviously, the local picture, we're looking a little bit more of a downtrend. So we have the original point, the first low, first high, and we have made a higher low, a lower low, right? And here we have a lower high. So obviously, based on this, currently locally we're going more on the downtrend. So it really depends on how you look at the market, more macro or more local, right? So that's something that you should always kind of be aware of. And so once you kind of know where areas we're depending on or what areas we're looking at, the next thing you want to look at is how you're going to place your trades. So let's say we go on the 4-hour charts, and on a number of 1 to 10, you guys give me a random number out of 1 to 5 is probably better. On a number of 1 to 5, just give me a random number. Just one? Okay, cool. So we'll just scroll one time, and then we will actually, you know what? We'll just replay it down here. Okay. So let's do a quick replay based on a 4-hour time frame. Reading the current charts. Okay. In the 4-hour time frame, if we're just reading the most current chart locations, the very first thing we identify is where are our lower support levels. So in the case, this is a demand zone, which we went over the other time in the other class. If you missed that, we'll probably circle around back to the zones and support resistance later on in the future. But today we're not going to go too much details into the zones. But this is definitely a support, a demand zone based on the way price action is going. So I anticipate if we were to have our price action continue to go down, 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 you'll probably have some sort of reaction here, right? So if I place my entry, I can certainly place my entry on the top of the zone, which I'll change the color to entry. So that's probably where I would go in, and my DCA at the bottom of the zone, which would be in orange. And I'll get to my point, right? My point today is more about, how to properly manage a portfolio. But we first need to kind of get our entries first, right? Kind of see where we are first. So just based on this, let's go ahead and play it out to see whether or not we hit. So assuming right now we have, let's say, $100 we're working with. Okay. So over here, we have $100 total. And now we're placing, if we only have really two entries, one entry and one DCA. So I would probably do what I call a 40-60 mix. So then in the yellow line here, if it does hit that, right, $40 out of my 0.2357 will actually go like for my entry, I would do $40 at 0.2357, and at my DCA I would do 60, right, $60 at 0.1880. Okay, so let's see if this gets hit. So let's go ahead and just go. Let's see how it plays out. Okay, we never quite got that low, but you can see the trend is kind of still sloping down over here with this trend. Okay, so we're still kind of just hanging around this trend right here. We haven't really broken this trend line. So that means in the local perspective, we're still kind of going downtrend, right? So we'll continue to wait. Okay, we broke the trend line here. So that's the first sign potentially right here. Since we broke the trend line, that's potentially the first time we would consider moving our original entries, right? And this is based on 4 hour, right? So it hasn't really been all that long. So let's say from here to here, it's only been about not even a month, right? So it's been about a few weeks. So right now we're talking about swing trades. We can definitely talk about more scalps as we go down the time frame, but right now we're talking about swing trades. So this is less than a month. Obviously our entries never got hit. It's okay. So we're waiting for kind of like clear indications and signs to tell us when to get back into the trade. So this breakout right here is one great potential opportunity where we can kind of enter the trade. You see how we broke out of the trend line and then we retested, and right now we're basically on a potential way to go up. So I will call this as a successful retest. So what I would do in scenarios like these, what I would do is probably do an entry right here, just based on CMP. You can even call it FOMO, right? So we basically enter right here. And then based on the price action, over here we have a pretty obvious support. So here I probably do a DCA. Okay. And over here, I probably would have another entry just based on the price consolidation at this point. So potentially I can have another entry point right here. So I'll put entry here. Okay. If you want, you can also use Fibonacci. So we can use the OEM Fibonacci just based on the swing low to swing high. And you can see that the entry line here is nearly 0.618. So I can actually raise that to the actual 618 level. Here is nearly 0.786. So I can also raise that to the 786 level. So to have a better chance of actually enter. So now we have our three entries. When we actually have our three entries, what I like to do is I like to do 30 for the 40-30 combo for the entries, right? So right now we have already gone in CMP. So imagine we have about $30 currently in the trade. Okay. I hope right now you're following me and I'm making sense. Our CMP just hit. So we have $30 based on FOMO. So this is our FOMO entry, which is also the 30% of our total portfolio, which I'm happy to take profit right away, right, and sell. So the whole point is to kind of do a demonstration of a live trade action to show you guys what I mean by the 30, 40, 30. Okay. So we'll continue to go. Okay. So we haven't really gone past this point. This is another support resistance point that's very important for us to break through. before we can really start taking some, serious profits. So that's the first point. The second point will be right around here. So if you're asking, okay, for your 30%, how would you take profit? The first profit I would probably take is near here. So these are all really significant support resistance levels. So for my $30, I will probably take profit right there, and I'll mark it down as my TP. So right here, we'll mark it down right here as my TP. So we'll see how it goes. So right now, the trend is about to go lower and potentially get a respawn, right? So we'll go ahead and continue to play in. Okay, so right now my entry just got hit. So my $40 entry was hit. Okay, we haven't really hit the DCA yet, so we'll continue to see. Okay, DCA just got hit right next candle. You guys see that? Right, actually got wigged out. Right, you can call this a snipe, whatever you want to call it, but we got hit. Right, so then our $100 position is now fully in play. So this is our DCA one. Okay, so let's continue to check out the price action. Okay, so we're lingering a little bit. Okay, so basically we just got down here a little bit more. By the way, this is spot trade, right? So we don't really have a stop loss. So you see this trend line is not really really being the correct breakout trend line. So even though we broke out, we didn't actually go up. It consolidated a little bit. Okay, hang on. Let me just pause right here. So you see how then at this point, after we kind of deviated a little bit, going under our DCA, and then we slowly climbed back up and we shot up to our take profit, right? So at this point, I would have taken profit on my $30 FOMO. Okay. So my $30 has now become from the original entry to then the take profit. That was about a 16% move, right? So $30 times 1.16. So it's a 16% move. So now it's about 35, right? So now my hold on. Let me oops. Okay. So I can say, whoa, this is not very easy. Okay. So let's just put it here. Okay, so sold at TP and now is equal to 35. Okay. So then as I sold here, potentially what I could have done is I could have wait for, you see the same support resistance. I could actually purchase back so I can potentially raise my FOMO and to enter again here. But this is my 30% trade back, right? So I can enter again here and hoping for the next take profit, which is then here. Okay. So now my $35 is actually in the trade again. This is really difficult to use. Maybe this is easier. Okay. So then my $35 is now entering at 0.3856. Okay. And my take profit is already preset again. So let's see if my take profit hits. But remember, my DCAs and my entry hasn't really been sold off yet because this is what I consider a little bit longer trade back, right? So I have $70 here, right? So 20% actually goes into my moon bag. So based on the $100 total, right? 30 is in trade bag. 50 is in long term, and 20 is in moon bag. So I have $20 currently locked in moon bag that I'm just not considering, right? So out of the $70 left, $50 I would take profit at a much higher profit level. So if I go back down to, let's say, the daily time frame, and looking at where the chart is right now, let me just hide my text. So looking at the chart, a long-term trade bag would probably be here, right? So I will probably take my long-term profit here. That will be my 50% bag. So if I go on here and use my long-term trade, so I will probably take a profit here and take another profit here, right? So oops. So these are literally my two profit points for big time. and that will be where I will cash out the entry and the DCA. So it's roughly right around this area. So that will be about a 90% to about 145% move, right? So if I bring back the text and go back to 4 hour, okay, let's go ahead and see how it plays out real quick. Almost hit, you see? Super close. Almost hit my TP, right? So let's see if it will actually hit. Come down again, struggling. So you see how just ranging around this area, right? So it's kind of like ranging here. Almost got my TP hit. The second time it went up there, I probably would have manually TP'd because this is so close. And if you look at the amount of gain here, it's about 22%, right? So potentially I could have, actually made that adjustment. Well, as it continues to come down here, you have an option to get a little bit more because it's at a FIB level, or you can wait it out. In this case, let's just assume you wait it out. Okay, so let's see what it's going to do. Okay, it's ranging again. Okay, boom, TP hit. Okay, so it took a little bit, but our TP finally got hit. We were entering the trade at this candle right here, and we got hit here. That took almost 2 weeks to hit, right? So if that is too long for you, then you probably wouldn't be playing on a 4 hour time frame. If you think, well, 2 weeks is waiting for too long for 20%, then you can potentially go down to 1 hour, maybe go down to 30 minutes. Then, the time between the hits is going to be much closer. But if you don't mind the wait and you just want to be a little bit more, kind of relaxed, where you don't look at the chart all the time, then, you can kind of set it up and forget about it, right? At this point, our TP actually got hit again. So going back to the text. So here, 35% times, this is a 22.4% gain. So $35 times 1.224. Now we have 42.84, right? So now we're at 42.84. Let's just say $43. Okay, TP hit. Now we're at $43. Okay. So potentially once we hit, we can always kind of come back and try to use the same entries because the entries is really serving as a great support resistance level. So if you believe it's going to come down again, then potentially that could be, you could enter again here. In this case, I will use the same entry to try to enter again because we kind of range here for a little bit. So I'll set my FOMO again right here and we'll see. Okay, boom. Okay, so this was a quick flash dump. You see how it flash dumps right to our entry and DCA, right? So currently we haven't really sold our previous entry in DCA at all, which has kind of been holding it up and down the roller coaster pad. And we've been just trading our FOMO back. If you're not even trading your FOMO back, literally you're just riding it up and down. You're not really making any money at all, right? So then, that's not a correct way to do portfolio management, right? You're literally just holding it going up and going down. You're not gaining anything from just holding. You see my point? So it's really a good idea to make sure that a part of your bag is always consistently trading and you're trading in good sense, right? And you can always hold your long-term bag and your moon bag without any remorse. I think of my moon bag is something I don't even own. So I put them into staking and I just forget about it. So I have my, long-term bag set at a long-term level where I would take TP eventually, but I'm primarily trading my FOMO bag, the 30% bag. And you see how I already turned like $30 into 43. And right now, I basically got in again at this level, right? So remember, I used the same FOMO. So even just 2 candles later, I'm already up again, up to about 6% now, right? Just 1 candle later, that's 4 hours. So let's continue to see how it plays out. Based on the previous price action, I am going to keep the same TP point. Why? Because we never really close above the swing high. So I have, a feeling that we're going to visit there again. So we're just going to keep it all the same again. So that's yet another 22% gain. So let's go ahead and continue to play out. Okay, it came down again. Boom, boom, right? So we got hit again. So now I got another 22.4%. Literally, I wrote the same map one more time. You guys see my point? Right? So instead of just holding onto the coin, not doing anything about it, my 30% back is almost going to outgrow my initial portfolio, right? So if you're looking at the current price now, I got in again at $43 and I made 22, so 1.224 again, exact same setup. So I'm right now at $42.60. Again, just gonna round it up. So let's say $53. Okay. And that's literally just within weeks, right? So 43 got in at the same FOMO, TP same, and now I'm at $53. Okay. And currently we're at this point. Okay. So because I already sold that, I'm waiting for the next time for the price to come down again. It seems like this support resistance level has been something that kind of upholds. And because the price action, we have broke out the previous range, right? So if you look at the yellow, not the yellow, the gray box. So we kind of have been breaking out at this ranging level and we actually closed above. So I'm going to assume the bull trend is now going to continue. Therefore, I don't really have my FOMO down here again, right? So I'm basically have my trade back probably at this support resistance level that's been kind of working out quite a bit. So I will move my FOMO to support resistance level here, probably down to the close of the candle right here, because I presume there's going to be some sort of retest and then we're going to take off. So I wouldn't be taking TP so short with my trading back now. So I will remove that as well. And then we'll kind of go back to the time frame at a higher time frame. Let me just hide this and look for a better place to take profit again. So now we're breaking out of this gray box. The next area of potential take profit would then be really the long term, or potentially if I look at a slightly lower time frame, if I'm looking at a place where there's an order block, we have an order block right here, happens to be the long term as well. But we also have a wick right here, or maybe we look at a flat area, which is here. So potentially my trade bag, I could have taken my trade profit right here for my 30% back, right? So I'm waiting for here to here. If it comes down to touch, currently I'm not in the formal trade yet. I'm waiting for it to come back down to allow myself to enter the trade. And this then will be a 30% gain. If that's too much, you can also kind of lower that a little bit more just so then you can have the price action hit quite a little bit sooner. So that would have been a 23%. So this is good. So there's two TP options, right? So you can either TP here or TP here, and let's see how it goes. Okay. Remember, I'm not in the FOMO trade again. I am holding my previous entry in DCA. For that, I am waiting. I am waiting for the first blue line for a 94% trade up. Okay. So currently I'm at my FOMO. I'm waiting for my FOMO to get hit. Okay. Boom. FOMO just got hit. You see how this time when FOMO got hit, it didn't hit as quite as low as before, right? So this time the FOMO just got hit right at the support resistance. Again, why do I know that? Because we have broken out of this great ranging box. So I don't assume it's going to go down to the very bottom again, right? So then we're picking in the location that makes a little bit more sense. All right, so my FOMO is now in. And actually, if I look at this clearly, this is the open. It came down and we closed here. Okay, so we haven't really taken the TP. Okay, so FOMO is in. We're waiting for our TP1. TP1 just got hit. You guys see that? At this wick right here. Wick actually wicked out our TP1. Okay, so in this instance, we went from entry here to now taking TP here. That's 1 day time, right? So 1 day's time, we had a roughly 23.4% gain, right? So now let's go back to taking a look at our text. Type in the comment if you're following. If you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, feel free to ask questions. But if you're following, this is basically what I'm trying to show you in terms of portfolio management, right? All right. So $53, 23.4% gain, right? So 53 times 1.23.4%. Now I'm at $65. Okay. So FOMO entry was complete. And now I am taking profit again. Hold on, let me just see why I can't even. There we go. All right. Got in at the new FOMO, PP, completed. Okay, so now I'm actually at 65 bucks. Ooh. Okay, 65 bucks. Great. 65. You see, I'm catching up to, my initial portfolio already, right? So I'm at 65. Imagine if I actually, and by the way, this is $100, you guys. It's not very exciting looking at this at $100 level, but you can simply add a zero behind this, assuming you had $1,000 account. You see what I'm saying, right? So I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money because it's only $100, but I'm just trying to keep the math simple, But if you just add a zero at the end, this can literally, be quite interesting, when you have $1,000 or more. All right, cool. So we hit this level. Then let's just assume that we didn't even care about that TP. So we're looking for another entry now for our 30 bag, right? Because our entry and DCA is still in our bag. We're still waiting for to sell those at the blue line. So we're looking for another, entry for our 30. So let's take a look at which point would be a good entry. Now, that means you need to kind of come back and revisit this, right? You need to revisit the current price action. We kind of been bouncing around, this area. We have definitely retested this area, came back up. But looking at the volume, looking at the candles, there's still a lot of whites here. So we're not really quite ready to shoot off, in my opinion. So potentially there's another kind of potential come down. So just based on that, you see how this has taken out this demand zone and this has taken out this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a portion of this wick. Anytime when you have a stupid wick like this, when I say stupid, I mean just crazy long wicks, you can kind of dissect it into, quarters. So basically quarter, half, 3/4, and full, right? So you can always assume that the next time the price kind of comes down to this area, it'll probably hit at least half. A deeper retracement would be the 75, which in this case actually is concurrent with our support resistance level. So I'm going to move my FOMO down a bit to the support resistance level, assuming that the price will come down and complete a liquidity to grab the liquidity from this long wick, right? So let's see how it plays out. And for the TP, I'm just going to keep TP the same because I think we haven't really closed above this new high. So that means we're still ranging within this high. So I'm just going to keep it within, the areas of the close. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, boom. See that? I am hit again, even though I'm not hit at the bottom, but I am hit at the close. You guys see that? So I didn't get hit at the bottom. I got hit at the close. Now, if we use this wick, you can see that we got almost to the 50%, but we had a 25% range for this wick, right? So this is basically just knowing, kind of dissecting the wick, knowing where the liquidity is. But either way, it's fine because the price action is now rebounding. And obviously, I didn't catch the bottom, but we don't always catch them. So we'll see how it goes. But I do presume that we're going to hit that TP again. So let's go ahead and see how it goes. Almost hit. Okay, boom, hit right here. All right. So from the point of entry to the point of that's only about 3 days. Not too bad, right? So in 3 days, our entry was here. Our take profit was about 25.8%. Okay. So 25.8. Bring out our text. We are at $65 right now. Okay. So FOMO hit, TP hit. $65 times 28, 1.28. Now we're at $83. Pretty sweet, right? So instead of just kind of like holding on, now I'm at like 83 bucks. Right? Our initial was only 100. I'm catching up to it. I'm still holding my original. And by the way, can you sell this at any time? Literally, you have about $50 that you can sell at any time. And you see how we're approaching this sweet spot right now. So some of you guys would actually, if you really kind of imagine you're doing this trade, you get quite excited. because you're about to finally cash out on your long-term trade. That feeling is wonderful if you're ever in it, right? So, you're about to experience that very quickly. All right, again, we just blow through, plays out. Oh, so close, you guys. See that? So freaking close. And this feeling is never good. You're literally like 0.4% away from cashing out your long-term bag, right? But it's okay. We'll go ahead and see how it plays out, see if it comes down. And I would the FOMO bag I get this time will cash out at the same long-term bag. Okay, so let's go and play. Come on, hit my FOMO. Okay, hit right here. All right, so my FOMO is in, and my FOMO is at $83. You see, I went from $30 FOMO to now $83 FOMO. You see how the more time you play in this game, right? The more time you do your short-term trading, the more you're just gonna make, and it's very hard to lose money, right? Really, because you're doing spot, right? There's no stop loss. You're not gonna get kicked out. You're just playing the game patiently. You're watching the charts patiently. You get in the proper time. You get out in the proper time. You're not trying to be greedy. You're not trying to 10x. You're just trying to make your money along the time, right? Along the chart. All right. Anyways, I'm in, and let's go ahead and see whether or not we hit that blue. Okay, so we retest again, touched it again. Okay, my DCA just got hit. Okay, so here my DCA, I haven't really said how much my DCA is, but that kind of based on your budget. Let's just say my DCA is $30. Okay, so FOMO hit, DCA 30 hit. Okay, waiting for the TP. So as it comes down here, you guys don't need to freak out. Why? Because this is spot, right? So no brainers. You're not worried about it goes all the way down, right? So you just kind of keep on playing. But then you can learn from this. You see how this hit exactly at the 25% mark, right? So based on this, if I turn this off, if I hide this, my God, how do I hide it? Here we go. So this was at the 75%, support resistance line, and this was at the 25% based on this wick. Okay, let's see if it rebounds from there. Continue to go down. Okay, so go back down to our original hold level. We were so close of cashing out our original, 50% bag. See that? So you can literally go all the way down. Remember, this was a 97% gain. You guys understand if you just hold and not do anything, you literally rolled all the way up and all the way down for no good reason, right? So if we exercised, our trading bag to make sure we're making money all the time, at least you don't feel like all this time passed, it's just in waste, right? And you can always change your strategy. So I like to do 20 moon bag, 50 long term, and basically 30 short term. You don't have to do 30 short term. You can do 20 moon bag, 30 long term, and 50 short term if you want, right? And that will completely change the math and basically change your profitability at this trade, right? It will be a very different style, right? But now we're all the way down again, which is a strong support level. So I would be surprised if we continue to drop. So let's see how it plays. Okay, you see, many times it tried to get down, but this is a very strong level, right? So it really never went down. I would even consider getting some more here if you have the budget. Okay, but just for the sake of today's, demonstration, we're not going to add. Okay, we're bouncing again. Where are we now? We're in March, okay? Coming back up. Showing signs of strength. Okay, so we're bouncing again back in this level. Flirting with that. Okay, now we're going down. This is potentially a deviation unless we have a successful retest. Okay, this is the retest. And it looks like the retest is somewhat successful, right? So I'd be a little bit worried around this range to go lower. And it did. Just as I was saying that you could potentially go lower. Did you guys see how I was reading the chart in lifetime? And just to see, some of the very clear indication about what you should be watching out for. just type I if you kind of saw what I was saying, and I hope that it was valuable to you to see that as well. If you kind of knew the reason why I knew it was going to go down, right? Um, and at those points, you can really choose to either to get back in again, right? So the entry and the DCA we had initially now just got hit, right? So you can choose to get some more here for it to cash out. So we're gonna pause here and kind of go back to see what are some of the things you can potentially do different, right? So one of the things I would certainly do different is when we're so freaking close at our 4 hour time or our long term, our long term TP, I probably would have just manually TP'd here. You guys see that? Because it's just like minuscule. You might as well. It's really the difference between making 95% versus 94.5%. But because I didn't take TP here, I literally rolled it all the way down and some more, right? So that's totally not worth that 0.5%. You guys agree? Right? So when you're really close to your TP, you might as well just let it hit and we'll just manually TP it. That's one thing you would kind of think about. Another thing is, I hope that by showing you guys the live action trading, I have demonstrated why you don't want to just buy and hold, right? So this is a clear indication of what I meant by profiting both ways. I'm profiting as I'm moving up. I'm also profiting as I'm getting more into the coin as it comes all the way down. Okay, I'm not worried about stop loss. I'm not worried about big time being a shit coin. I do understand that this coin will potentially have a huge recovery, right? And this is a great zone to be in. So I wouldn't be surprised that we would actually rebound from this point onward. So we'll see how far it goes down. Does it really want to continue to go down? Let's see. It's ranging. Okay, it's showing signs of trying to come back up. A retest there. There you go. Another retest, and then we have a huge up, right? Okay, so at this point, with the newly, gotten entry and DCA, potentially what you can do is you have another 30%, bag that you can potentially, sell at, let's say, this level, right? Or at this level. Probably at this level, right? So you can TP right there. And this will be my last TP demonstration for the night. Once it hits this level, we'll call it. Right now, we're in April 23rd. Actually, we're really close to where we are today. Okay, that's it. So now we're in the current time. So if you're wondering, okay, well, James, what should I do? Okay, so the very first thing you can do, or Kupo, either way, you can call me either one. If you DCate here, potentially you can get your 30% back to TP here with the 30%, right? So Bert, if you have a strong example, I'm a minus with big time, that's fine. So if you bought some more at the bottom here, and you can actually buy from here as well, you can anticipate that this level of TP will definitely be hit. I have no doubt that you're going to be able to hit this 2484, right? So that's totally something, it's a no-brainer for your 30 back. So that's one. Two is as we continue this bull run, you'll go ahead and kind of start trading your short-term bags more, aware, like be more aware how you can trade this. I personally think that based on what the USDT is telling me, I personally think the market can actually go down some more. So be very careful. That's why, for the spot trades I've been given, I don't know if you follow my channel, but if you follow my channel, the spot trades I've been given, the entries are literally all in deep pockets, right? So very, very deep down. This is my current projection. And this is USDT dot dominance. So if you don't know what that is, I've explained that before. Dominance is basically tells you the overall trend of the market. If the USDT dot dominance is moving outwards, basically that tells you that everybody is cashing out. People are scared, so the market is dumping. And we recently just crossed a very, very important support resistance level. We had a retest, and that is now considering successful. We have to break this order block first, and once we break that, we have to break this resistance second, and once we break that, potentially you're going to see 53,000 BTCs, right? And once you see that, hopefully, through this, we'll get a complete rebound, and that's when the bull really starts. But until we actually closed below this red line, closed below 4.47 dominance percentage. The bull run is really hasn't really started, right? So this is really one of the key levels we need to close under. And right now we're playing on the upper range. That's why I've been pretty pessimistic about the current market. Even though it's kind of just flirting around the lines right now, I haven't hunch, right? So I anticipate and expect the market to dump some more, probably in the next few days. So be very careful how you trade in the next few days. So if you look at my spot trades, right? Most of my spot calls, you see how deep I am in? This is my actual calls, right? So this is no longer practice. This is real money. Actually, my money is in this, right? So this is my real trade. And you can see I actually mark my bought and sold line, just as I told you you should, as you document your trades and portfolio management, right? It's well within the percentage I told you guys about. Anytime you do 30% trade back, should be between 15 to 20%, right? In this case, I was able to do a 24%, which is roughly the same, right? So you always have that. And if you really look at the current price points, right? So our current price point here, if we were to hit my entry, that's a 44% drop. It sounds crazy, but if you look at the previous drops, right? So let's just look at the previous drops. Let's say from this point, which is a potential swing high to the swing low, that's a 47% drop, right? And if you're considering how long that's been, that actually has only been about 4 days within a week. So if you think about this, it's not really that crazy anymore because it literally just happened a couple of weeks ago. And that's not the only one. So if you go back up here, over here, there is another. Hold on. Let me just get this clear. There's another 31% drop just, a couple of weeks back. And over here, we just had another. Where are you? We just had another 38% drop, right? So literally every time we had a correction is usually above like 30, 40%. And just this time, the correction might be a little bit bigger than before. That's why I have it in the 50% level. Okay. That's just AJIX. If you're looking at Doge, for me, the same thing, right? I'm kind of looking at Doge this way. So if you're looking at it, I currently have it roughly about, 31%, 36, about 42% drop. But I didn't really consider at the current price point. I consider at a swing high. So that's about a 38, 42, and almost a 47% drop. And you'd be like, oh my God, Kupo, you're crazy. There's no way. But if you look at just a couple weeks back, literally we just had a 35% drop a few days ago, right? And if you're considering this drop, that's another 25%, right? So it depends on the kind of time frame you're looking at. It could actually be, as crazy as what I'm looking at right now. So this is only a demonstration of potentially what you're looking at. Hey, what's up, OTW? Hey, you guys, if you guys wondering how come I learned so quickly and stuff that I know, you should really talk to OTW. He's one of my mentors, right? So he's got amazing classes. I highly recommend anyone who wants to know the market, take his class. I really appreciate him. He's one of my, the mentors I really look forward to taking his class and really look forward to, I kind of want to say I aspire to become like him. He's an amazing analyst, really great at data analyzing, incredibly geek out all the stuff, right? So, all right. Anyways, yeah, the session is recorded. You just talk to, I think one of the mod here, Mo Sun, right? If you talk to Mo Sun will be able to send you the link. All right. Anyways, so if you're looking at this, I'm a little bit pessimistic about the market right now. And OTW recently also did a short on BTC, which is not a confluence that I wasn't out of my mind, right? So if you're looking at, OTW's short, he was right on the money. I think his TP3 recently hit yesterday. Potentially it can go down deeper, right? So just be careful. Be ready for, like I said, manage your portfolio wisely, profit on both ways, right? So basically make money, by having the proper portfolio management. All right. Anyways, I think I've given all my, my cues and signs. I've given quite a bit of coins in terms of signals prior. You guys should be able to find out on my channel. If no other questions, you let me know if there's any other questions. Yeah, see, even OTW is expecting a deep correction. Good. Thank you for confirming that, OTW. I really appreciate that. Delta neutrality. Yeah, exactly. All right. So Today's class is really mainly focused on our risk and portfolio management. Risk is basically how you take care of yourself, making sure now you're overexposed and over leveraged. And the portfolio management is what I kind of showed you guys earlier, based on the big time, basically how I would play things out, and literally, in real fashion, right? So it's not like a fake type of, situation, but everything's based on what I would really do. And this was the result, right? So any questions or anything you guys want to ask before we close out the session today? Any questions, fine. Hopefully, mainly, primarily based on, risk and portfolio management to the thing of today's, talk. So let me know. You're very welcome, Barrett and DZ01. You're very welcome. Thank you, Hindeki. Always nice to see you. All right, so nobody's asking anything. I assume you guys don't have any questions. Then I really thank you guys for attending this live stream tonight. I will see you guys next time. Oh, by the way, if you want to learn something, feel free to. Oh, I'm on Ondo. I'm actually on Ondo. I haven't got into it, but I'm waiting for the price correction to come down so I can actually get in. So I have my current FOMO set about roughly about a 25% drop, right? So I'm going to enter quite heavy. Oh, you think it's gonna go to $3? That'll be pretty cool. Yeah, that'll be pretty awesome. Yeah, have a great weekend, Barrett. Yeah, so I'm waiting for Ondo to have a correction to get back in. Do you think Ondo would have a correction? You should, right? OTW? I feel Ondo's correction is not nearly as big as everyone else. It has a pretty good resilience when it comes to, BTC drops. Okay, so you have the bits down range too. Okay, good to know. That's really awesome. Okay, and if I pull the trend lines here, yeah, it's perpendicular. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely try to get back into Ondo, whenever it comes down. All right, guys. It seems like you guys don't have any questions. Then we'll go and close out the live stream tonight. I gotta go back to my God of War. I will see you guys next Friday. For next Friday's class, what we'll probably do is we'll talk a little bit more. What do you guys want to talk about? Since you guys attend my live stream, like what topics do you guys want me to go over? I feel like I've gone over quite a bit, all the basics, in terms of Fibonacci's, order blocks, demand zones. I went over quite a bit of those. What would you guys like to learn next? Or did you want to make next class or next live stream just kind of like evaluating some coins using the stuff that we have talked over? What would you guys like? Does the spot play out? It really depends on the market, Dick. It's really hard to depends on the time zone too, right? So for my scalps, I actually do my daily scalps, and I was able to, kind of go in and out on a daily basis. There's also spots where it's more like swing, anywhere from 4 hour to daily, as I demonstrated here. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to play out. So it really just depends on how the market is doing. You can play out in a day, can play out in a week. It's really hard to talk about timing. All right, so the question I'm asking right now is, what would you guys like to see next live stream? Before I start doing a full circle around to kind of talk about order blocks again. I mean, potentially we can talk about trend lines. We haven't really gone over trend lines, have we? Yeah, Albatross, we'll eventually circle around back to the basics, order block and fibs again. Just right now, we're trying to keep everybody who's been following my live stream the whole time to be able to, continue learning what they should before we kind of graduate to the next class. Leverage X risk. Hindeki, that'll be a good subject to talk about once we actually do futures again. Right now, the market is just so choppy. Futures is literally very hard to predict, right? So I don't think anyone should be doing futures right now unless you're absolutely confident. Um, you can tell, right? Sherlock hasn't really been giving out a lot of future trades signals. I think most of the analysts haven't really been giving out a lot of future signals just because everyone knows currently with the war going on, interest rate reports, a whole bunch of other reasoning. The price is just, kind of screwing around right now. Market structure and ranges, does it qualify? Yeah, market structure certainly qualifies. Range, we can definitely talk about the structure and range. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. So since Derek asked for it, nobody else contributed. So we'll go ahead and talk about market structure and ranges then. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for participating. This is good night. I will see you guys next Friday, and we will be talking about market structure and how it range. Potentially, we'll add trend lines to those as well. And then, hopefully, you guys can learn something else then. You guys have a great weekend as well. Thank you again for showing up. I will see you then. Good night.